Thank you for joining us today for Cape Chronicle. I'm Audra Kane. We will visit today with City of Cape Girardeau Team Spirit Coordinator Sherry Galnor about teenagers. Whether leading or following, you may need her advice to help the youth of today succeed. We'll also spend some time with Mayor Harry Rediger to recap this year's developments and what we will see changing for Cape Girardeau in 2016. That's all ahead on Cape Chronicle.
Whether it's for business or just a getaway, Cape Air is your wings in the Midwest. Cape Air serves 6 destinations, including Kirksville, Quincy, Fort Leonard Wood, Cape Girardeau, Marion, and Owensboro. Fly from Cape Girardeau to St. Louis with fares starting at just $49 each way. With easy connections through Lambert St. Louis International Airport, Cape Air connects you to the Midwest and the world. Book today at capeair.com or call 800-CAPE-AIR and enjoy the ride.
Welcome to Cape Chronicle. I'm Audra Kane. Teenagers are well known for being challenging to guide, and Team Spirit Coordinator Sherry Galnor is here to share some advice on how you can help the teens you know to succeed at everyday life and more. Thank you for coming, Sherry.
Glad to be here.
Well, Team Spirit may not be a program that is familiar to everyone. What is it exactly?
Team Spirit is a program that targets youth of driving age, 15 to 20 mainly. We're looking at high school students because they have some driving behaviors that are going to cause them problems on the road if we don't train them.
Exactly. So now you facilitate this program to encourage good driving. How is it presented to them?
We actually recruit high schools across the state of Missouri. They're notified of our training conferences that we hold in the summer, and we ask them to put together a team of 10 students, 2 advisors, send them to us, and we spend 3 days of intense training and writing action plans on what they can do in their school.
Okay, so this is this just a local program?
This is statewide. Every school district in the state of Missouri will get a letter inviting them to attend, and we try to meet up with the person right for that program in their school district.
Okay, so how is this funded? Is this funded with local dollars or is this funded with state dollars?
We actually receive a grant from the Missouri Department of Transportation through their Traffic and Highway Safety Division. It comes to the Cape Girardeau Police Department, and we actually coordinate training conferences in Cape Girardeau and in Columbia, as well as workshops around the state.
Okay, so speaking about those training programs and those workshops around the state, and you mentioned the summer programs, how do those work?
Well, basically in the summer programs, after we have a team recruited, we visit the high schools and we give them an idea of what's going to happen when they come to be with us. And I always tell them it's kind of like being out in the middle of nowhere, because once you get with us, you're with us. You don't leave, you don't go eat somewhere, go to the mall. We are busy from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. We are educating them. We have many workshops. We have interactive workshops. We have activities that they love. We keep them busy till 11 o'clock at night.
So what are some of those activities that they do?
One of the things that we do is a docudrama. We call them DWI docudramas, but really it can focus on texting or whatever, but it's a reenactment of a traffic crash. You involve the local law enforcement, ambulance service, the coroner, and we reenact a crash scene. And we use our staff to play the part of victims. We always have 1 or 2 fatalities, serious injury, and the responders all respond as if it's real, so they actually see what happens when there is a traffic crash and how serious it is. We also do it so they can see that they can replicate that scenario back at their high school.
So they take what they learn and replicate it back at their own school.
We do many things throughout the day that not only can they replicate at their high school, but it's free of charge. Now there are a few speakers that you're going to have to pay for, but if they don't have a budget, and a lot of high schools don't, there are many things that they can learn while they're there that they can take back. But the most important thing they take away from the training is the action plan. We require them to write an action plan while they're there that they will implement in their school when they get back in the fall. Now a lot of high school students don't know how to write an action plan. We actually have 22 staff that help us with this, and the majority of them are the same age. It is a peer-to-peer training. So each team that comes from the school will have a facilitator who's either a high school student or a college student, and they actually teach them what an action plan is, how to state or find your goal, state your objectives, how to actually implement and get into school and do what you want to do. And that's probably one of the most valuable things they take away. It is the most valuable.
Well, I was going to say that is probably the kind of skill to learn that they can transfer over into other areas of their life.
I always tell them this is something you're going to use many, many ways. Many ways.
Exactly. So beyond the obvious reasons, why is this particular age group targeted?
Because we find that, and we know that, the leading cause of death and injury to high school students is motor vehicle crashes. We have a very low belt usage rate. Right now, the youth are buckling up at a rate of 68%, but the national average, and that's in the state of Missouri, the national average is 76, and that's still 10% lower than adult usage rate. So we are really low on getting our high school students to buckle up. And that's why when we write this action plan, they can write it about underage drinking, they can write it about texting and driving, but they always have to have a component on how they're going to get kids to buckle up, because that is the one thing you can do that affects everything else.
You mentioned texting and driving.
Yes.
Is that you've been doing this, what, 20 years now?
Yes.
So is that a statistic that you're seeing
It's
continuing
rising.
to increase?
Yes, and it's up there right up with drinking and driving. And for kids, it's really hard for them to get it. They think, oh, it's no big deal. Well, while we have them at the training, we usually have an officer or another organization come in and they do some kind of simulated course or whatever and have them text while they're doing it. And it's a real eye-opener to the kids of what all that goes on while you have your eyes away from the road. So, you know, we can't stress enough how important it is to get the kids to stop texting. At the same time, you know, running off the road is major. If you, can't tell you how many times if you listen to the news you hear, and they ran off the road overcorrected and ran into a tree on the opposite side of the road. And I know immediately they had to be texting or they were speeding. You know, they weren't paying attention. So, you know, we work on that. We bring in the highway patrol. We bring in other officers to talk about possibly drug issues because there is drug driving. We do team building so that when they get back to school, they can work together as a team and really have an impact. We have communication skills, just all kinds of different things that we feel they're going to need to be able to go out. We build 40-foot whales. That's one of our team building projects. And when we tell them they're going to do this, they're just like, no way. But we give them, it's landscaping plastic. We give them scissors, string, and I think that's it. Oh, the diagram. And they have to figure it all out. And when they tape it all together with clear tape, they blow it up with a box fan and they can crawl inside and they can have their picture made. And they feel so accomplished when they finish building that whale because they had to work together. It was never going to happen unless they all did their part. Kids really have a hard time seeing what role they play in any project. So it makes them really feel like they participated, they did something, they accomplished their goal, and we work hard on that. You know, we know the message is the important thing, but if you can't deliver, you know, then it's not very valuable.
Communication, that's our business,
yes.
is teaching them how to communicate. Well, that's excellent. Well, is there a way for maybe a school administrator or even a church administrator or someone that works with youth, how do they contact you in order to get this program to the youth that they know? We actually have two coordinators, one here, and that's me. I'm at the Cape Girardeau Police Department, and I can be contacted at 573-986-3111. We have a second coordinator in Jefferson City. She is with MoDOT. Her name is Casey Bush-Jost, and she can be contacted at 1-800-800-BELT. Now, I know that there are some materials that are online at the MoDOT website that people can download. So they can go to SaveMoLives.com. If after all this time, you've been doing this for 20 years, what would you say is the most valuable message that you have taken away from the information that you've been teaching these kids all these years? For me, the information to me is that how wonderful kids are and how quick they learn, and things that take adults forever to hammer out, they can do in a heartbeat, and the energy.
gee, I wish I had their energy. Once they get it, they go for it, and they are great. They do great work.
They are. They're absolutely surprising,
Yes,
aren't they?
yes. It's just amazing what they can accomplish. But when they come in, they don't know that, and that's our job, to get them to see what they can do and that they can make a difference. I always tell them at the beginning, you may not believe me, but what you're doing here is life-saving, and you will save a life by doing this. You just won't know whose.
Well, Sherry, what you're doing is life-saving as
thank
well.
you.
Thank you so much for your service to the community. You've been doing this a long time.
Right.
We do appreciate you. We've been talking with Sherry Galnor, the City of Cape Girardeau's Team Spirit Coordinator. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
On our way next, well, our mayor will wrap up 2015 and clue us into what to expect in 2016. Stay tuned for more on Cape Chronicle.
Not all classrooms are created equal. You can't just learn about life, you have to do it. At Southeast Missouri State University, we can't wait to see what you do.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. I'm Audra Kane. Cape Girardeau has experienced many changes over the past year, and our mayor, Harry Rediger, is here to discuss some of his favorites. Thank you so much for coming, Mayor.
Great to be with you, Audra.
Thank you. So there have been, it is exciting to see all of the changes that have happened in the past year. I'm sure that it excites you as well.
Absolutely.
So I thought we'd start off with, and I know that the riverfront is one of our favorites, so I'm sure that it's one of your favorites as well.
Absolutely.
And it looks very different now.
It does. We've completed Broadway. That's been done earlier. The CID has been passed downtown. That's active now. The trimmings on the light poles this year were paid by that. We look forward to more and more both safety and beautification and cleanliness type of operations in the downtown area, in addition to new businesses that continue to float into downtown that makes it a very exciting venue.
It is very exciting. It's very energized now. Lots of events go on downtown that we haven't seen in the past or are just energized by some of the changes. And I know that the neighborhood developments in Cape Girardeau have probably been something that have interested you as well, because you've lived here a long time.
Absolutely, and we are hoping to and planning to spread the neighborhood development initiative around the whole city. We've got 2 pilot projects going now, one in South Cape and one in the Red Star area. They're getting some traction and some ownership and some buy-in from citizens, and the end result of the neighborhood development initiative is for neighbors to take control of their own neighborhood. Rather than city down to neighbors, we want neighbors to take control of their own neighborhood, come to us for assistance and when needed. We are getting some buy-in there, and we're going to continue to develop in 2016 those 2 and hopefully start to spread that into other neighborhoods.
So are you hearing from other neighborhoods that are interested in participating in that type of program?
Somewhat, but we really need to get some more exciting things going in the two pilot projects. This is both a development, restoration, and a public safety, frankly, type of operation that we really want the buy-in of the neighbors and the homeowners to take control of their neighborhood.
Are you seeing any partnerships with like businesses or maybe local organizations or churches in working with the city to help out in these areas?
Absolutely. Particularly some of the churches are, and the Ministerial Alliance has been involved, and some businesses have been involved in trying, and we've had several meetings. Actually, Red Star area is probably a little bit further ahead in this process than South Cape, but we will continue to nurture that in 2016. So more to come there, but we've got to start.
Yeah, that's exciting to know. What about some of the transportation priorities? I know that there have been some changes in the last year as far as transportation goes. What do you think are the most important ones that have happened this year?
Well, we passed the TTF 5 that we call Transportation Trust Fund 5 in August, which will start to collect funds in January. That's a continuation of a half-cent tax. It's 20 years old now. We've done over $80 million worth of street improvements through our TTF process. This one's a little different because we have a little over $3 million on hand because of a dropped project of TTF 4 of Armstrong, and the great need of neighborhood street repair and update. We've pretty much concentrated in the last 20 years with arterials and collectors and new streets. Now it's time to get into the neighborhoods and update, replace, and overlay neighborhood streets. So we have up front about $3 million to work on those projects in 2016. So we're going to see a lot of street construction, repair and renovation and overlay in 2016, really pretty early on in the year.
Okay, so and time-wise, like weather, you're going to not worry about the weather when the weather happens, I'm guessing.
Well, we'll be underway. There'll be some design bid and so forth in January, February, but probably by March we're going to be out on the streets with construction, both and city construction and contracted construction.
Okay. Any other transportation?
Well, we'll be. In fact, we've put out for bid the first design on all the TTF 5 projects, and there are several. One safety one is the Sloan Creek Bridge on North Main Bend Road. That needs to be replaced. We've got a major project on the Independence that will be looking at a lot of traffic issues there. There are others, but TTF is a pay-as-you-go. So as the money comes in, that's kind of delayed a little bit until we really get under construction with the major projects. But the repair projects and the overlay projects will be underway right away in 2016.
Okay, that's something that I've been curious about, whether that's going to happen sooner or later, because reading from the City of Cape Girardeau has a great blog that informs the public very easily about the things that are going on with the City Council. But there was also a huge award in 2015 that I think you're probably pretty proud of.
Absolutely. This is a National Main Street Award. 3 cities in the country, a city in New Jersey, city in Wyoming, and Cape Girardeau, Missouri, got the National Main Street Award. It was given at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. I was privileged to attend that and be a part of the receiving of that award. And it's a very meaningful national award and has gotten a lot of national attention. And through 10 years of work in our Old Town Cape downtown area, the rewards are coming in, not with just a plaque, but with excitement, momentum, new business, renovation, new residential in downtown. Not there, but we got a lot of momentum going.
There's and the developments not only of like the river campus and the casino, but like you said, the local businesses that are coming in. There's been an influx of new businesses downtown.
Downtown is really bookcased with the river campus, which has far exceeded any expectations that the university and the city expected. And the casino has brought over 1 million visitors into the north area of downtown. But the development of the downtown area, as I said, has really been rewarding. What's happened now is that as these develop, a lot of the empty areas now weren't the prime areas for development. So we're undertaking now a TIF, a downtown TIF that'll be underway next year, that will capture a tax increment financing, which will capture the increment, not take any taxes away, but capture the increment to help to do infrastructure and make some of those projects and empty areas that were not conducive or financially viable to be constructed, that they, with the increment and the infrastructure that they'll be able to receive, they'll withstand what we call the but-for test. But for this increment, they won't be able to be developed. So that's the next step in developing some of the empty areas of the downtown area. So all in all, the downtown area is in good hands, and it's very exciting, and has great leadership in the area now.
Well, it's beautiful. It's certainly beautiful during the
We're
holidays.
very proud.
Yeah, you should be. You
Yeah.
should be. So some other developments this year have been the Cape alcohol ordinances, some changes, things like prohibited drink specials. Have you seen any drawbacks to that, or has it only been positive?
It's only been positive. I've not really seen the buy-in from the bar owners has been great. The public has received it great. It has put some teeth into the ordinances, and it's moving along seamlessly, really.
Really giving businesses an opportunity to kind of pair with the law enforcement and the city to improve the way. There's kind of been a negative perception about bars.
Yeah, there has, and there's that connotation that we've got enough bars downtown. We don't need more bars. They're bringing bad traffic into the downtown area. If run right, it does bring traffic, and it's entertainment, and it brings entertainment into the downtown area. And right now, we feel very confident in our current situation with bar owners and their reception to our ordinances and their support and their buy-in.
No, good. That's something, as someone who lives downtown, I appreciate the city making an effort to make it safer for everyone.
It needs an effort, no question.
Well, now there were some announcements this year as well, like the police station move, and I'm quite certain that the police department is excited about that. How is that planning process going?
Going well. Public safety is one of our important strategies for 2015, and it carries off into 2016. A lot of things that happened where we were really setting the stage in 2015 for exciting things to happen in 2016. So the police station that will go out just west of Kings Highway at Arena Park will be a design building. We'll be underway in that in the spring, and it'll be a very functional new building that added jail. We're going to take the courtroom out there, so it'll be adjacent to the jail. So that will improve that whole flow of personnel, and give them the additional square footage that they so desperately need. The Navy Reserve, the old Navy Reserve building, is a very solid building. It'll need a little bit of renovation, but it's a very solid building. So really looking forward to seeing that evolve during 2016.
So that's going to be renovated, and then there will be add-on.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Much newer, much bigger facility to help the police department. So,
Absolutely.
And then we talked a bit about roads, but one of the things that I saw on the City of Cape Girardeau's blog was discussion about sidewalk improvements. And how did that come out? Was that something that the public was asking for?
We started the sidewalk program 15, 20 years ago, and downtown sidewalks were a part of TTF4. Safe routes to school, we get grants for those kind of things. We've kind of tried to concentrate sidewalks and the arterials, get people safe off the street and around the school areas. We just completed a sidewalk project out on Kingsway. We have other sidewalk projects in the works, and they are that's a part of TTF5 also. That will continue as a quality of life and safety issue.
It helps us all.
And it helps us all.
We're all
and
safer.
Yeah, no question.
So of all the projects that have occurred so far in 2015, which one's your favorite?
Well, I've worked with TTF, Transportation Trust Fund, for 20 years, so that's always been very, very close to me. I can't imagine what our city would be like if we wouldn't have been able to invest the $80-some million to date in the last 20 years. So that's very, very close to me. The passing of the extension of the fire tax was very, very important also from a public safety standpoint, both fire and police. A lot of new equipment is going to be able to be purchased, a lot of renovation of fire stations. We'll be able to replace our last antiquated fire station on Curry Lane. The new one will be at Lexington and Flad. So those two really were really an exciting part of 2015.
Well, keeping the citizens safe. We all
Absolutely.
feel safer because of it.
We're dedicated to do that.
Well, thank you so much for coming by, Mayor Rediger.
Well, we could talk another hour.
Yeah, we could. We could talk about all the great things in Cape Girardeau. Again, thanks to Cape Girardeau Mayor Harry Rediger for sharing his insight and his favorites with us. And thank you for joining us today for Cape Chronicle. The program is a collaboration between the Department of Mass Media at Southeast Missouri State University, the City of Cape Girardeau, and River Radio Group, comprised of 93.9 The River, K103, KZIM, KSIM, Real Rock 99.3, and SEMO ESPN. Our executive producer is Dr. Jim Dufek. I'm Audra Kane. Thanks for watching.